Hi, I'm Kresta. I had a funny, if frustrating experience recently and thought it worth sharing since it reveals a sad truth about the state of news media and the flim-flam nature of modern religions. It illustrates just how much of what passes for news reporting is simply infotainment, and how the claims of many new spiritualities are irrational, bogus, and merely attention-seeking. I've picked out just a few clips from a longer interview about the brand new so-called Satanic Temple.
The Satanic Temple will soon expand with a new chapter right here in Detroit.
All right, but if you think this is a church that worships the devil, you've got it all wrong, or at least that's what they say. Joining us is the head of the Satanic Temple of Detroit, Jex Blackmore.
And next to her is Kresta, a Catholic scholar.
This so-called Satanic Temple is allegedly opening a new chapter. The truth is, they don't have any chapters. The hosts give the story a false dignity and legitimacy to an organization that doesn't have any dignity or legitimacy. There's no history, virtually no staff, and well, you'll hear of the so-called accomplishments as we go along.
A Satanic Temple in Detroit, and this is the first in the nation, right here.
That's right. This is the first chapter opening up, and one of 15 that will be coming.
Why here?
The truth is, they claim to have one in New York already, so this isn't the first temple. The boast that there are 15 temples coming all over the country is permitted to stand, even though nobody asks the basic questions. Is there any capital to do this? Are there any architects working on temples? Are there local chapters committing to making this happen? No, I maintain that this is fundamentally a publicity stunt, hoping to shake out of the trees some self-styled eccentrics who might agree with them on a few different things and kick in some money to make their coffers a little heftier. Their website claims a temple in New York City. It doesn't exist. When people think of a temple, they think of a piece of real estate, a building with big pillars, or at least a little room. They've got a website, and that's it. So you could think these journalists would have done a little bit of research on this. They didn't. There will be no 15 temples, and I don't think we're going to see even one.
Do you worship the devil?
No, we don't worship the devil. That's a common misconception. We worship ourselves, if we had to say we worship anything. But we believe in, a metaphorical construct of Satan that, helps inform our worldview and our work in our life.
If you worship yourself, then why call it satanic? Why not the selfie temple? This so-called metaphorical construct of Satan is actually their own invention. They fundamentally misunderstand William Blake's interpretation of Satan in Milton's Paradise Lost. They don't seem to understand Saul Alinsky's or George Bernard Shaw's use of Lucifer. Again, they claim a metaphorical construct, but it's a metaphorical use that Milton or Blake or Shaw or Alinsky wouldn't even recognize. When they say metaphorical construct, what they really mean is, we're making Satan out to be whatever we want Satan to be. And they're not supernaturalists, so of course they don't have any commitment to a Satan in the historic Jewish or Christian sense. The problem here is that they're making it up as they go along. They want to use our common vocabulary, but they've invented their own dictionary. Modern Satanism began in 1966 with Anton LaVey. He started the Church of Satan. He wrote the Satanic Bible. He's an atheist. He worships himself. His organization is the gold standard for satanic groups in America, and they look at this group and they call it bunco. They can't claim satanic literally, literarily, theologically, biblically, or in league with satanic organizations.
Jess says this is the first group in the nation, and that's true. They've been around a little while. The founder of the group has about one major achievement to his name, and that is he rested his genitals on a grave site in Florida and exposed himself. But of course, this is what Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves does. He attracts attention.
No,
I'm telling you the truth. It's very important to keep in mind what this is a series of publicity stunts.
that's just not true. I mean, it's a publicity
Did he
stunt
or didn't he do
anymore.
that?
I mean, he did do that, but he did it on the gravesite of the Westboro Baptist Church founders' parents.
It was a protest.
And it was a protest.
Clearly, the face of the host show, they were surprised. They had no idea that this is his most famous contribution to modern spirituality. The second reaction, however, is to go forward and do apologetics for this group.
Parents.
It was a protest.
And it was a protest.
Oh, it was just a protest. Imagine a mother superior of some religious order parading naked down some street, and ask yourself if it would be dismissed as a mere protest. The truth is, this group is simply hungry for attention. They've gotten very little in spite of their stunts. But here we have a major local news organization here in Detroit spending its time on this. What's it about? It's about entertainment. It's infotainment. This is not news. Now, by the way, I misidentified the state. The event took place in Mississippi, not Florida.
All right, let's take a look at this real quickly. There, Oklahoma, there's a statue. This is what it looked like right here. And two children, of course, the pentagram. Is this something we're going to see here in Detroit?
I don't know. We are still waiting to see if we can actually get it put up on the state, the courthouse steps in Oklahoma City, and we raised money to erect it next to a Ten Commandment statue that was privately funded, as a way to draw attention to plurality in America and to assert, our satanic beliefs.
I do appreciate her interest in pluralism and in allowing significant voices to be heard, but theirs is not a significant religious voice. Pluralism in America doesn't mean that every Tom, Dick, and Harry can claim a place on the community lawn. Pluralism means that religious and non-religious groups that have any degree of influence in the civil community should have a chance to put their symbols up on the town hall lawn at the appropriate times. We don't wipe the town square clean of spiritual and religious influences. That's no way of trying to live with our deepest differences. No. Where you have significant numbers of Hindus or Muslims or Jews or Christians, groups like those with sizable populations, then they should be able to be represented on their town square during their festivals. They contribute to the common good. They're good citizens. They deserve to be heard in the civic sphere. Christians, for instance, put up creches at Christmas time. Jews erect a menorah. In East Dearborn, Michigan, Muslims may want to have something put up during Ramadan. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone who has an opinion or who invents his or her own religion, has automatic social legitimacy. Jex seems to be a nice person, but she's just taken advantage of the First Amendment here. This group is not going to have Baphomet on the Oklahoma State House lawn. I'll tell you why. Baphomet has no historic significance for America. The reason the Ten Commandments might stay up in Oklahoma City is because the Ten Commandments actually do represent one of the historical bases for American law. If Americans' legal history rested on Baphomet, I'd be glad to tolerate the old goat on the courthouse lawn.
You have a service of some kind?
We have some rituals. We don't demand that anybody practice any specific ritual. We allow our members to tailor that towards their own beliefs.
Isn't that perfect political correctness? Religion is about binding together. That's its meaning in the Latin. Religions are about believing together, behaving together, and belonging together. Common rituals are an inseparable part of religion. And even those who downplay rituals usually have an order of service or some way of showing who is or who isn't in. Jex says they don't demand anything of their members, which then means it's not much of a group. Without shared beliefs and practices, rituals, and coming together, there is no group cohesion. There is no group. This is a group, as she says, that worships the self. But if you're worshiping the self, then everybody's his own God, and there's no basis for them to come together to worship anything or anyone. There's no single uniting reality independent of the individual that the group can agree upon. So the individual is off on his own here. It's self-contradictory to call the worship of the self a religion that includes large groups of people, because we are each our own individual self.
Just what is that?
We have affirmative beliefs, and our idea of Satan informs our concept of morality, informs our lives, works, and goals. We have a shared history, we have a community, we have rituals.
There is no shared history, there are no shared rituals. It's not even a movement, it's hardly even a group. There's one guy who does stunts. And we have Jex here in Detroit, and they have a website. The guy who heads this thing runs around with an alias, Lucian Greaves. I guess that's to enhance the intrigue. We're not even certain who he is, and he's managed to get a few people on board like Jex, but very few.
An hour's worth of research on the internet will tell you all you need to know.
Give us in about 20 seconds. What's bad about that?
What's bad about it?
Yeah.
Nothing. They want to do what they want to do, but you should characterize them for what they are. This is not an authentic religious group.
That's extremely.
This is about honesty. It's about truth in advertising, so-called. This is a group, and even that's too strong a word, specializing in publicity stunts that try to get folks to buy into the illusion of Satanism and help fund their projects. Once, they tried to adopt a highway in New York. Keep it clean, keep it open. But people who worship the self generally don't work out well in civic activities because they're busy with their own lives, with their own selves. And of course it failed. And like I said, they had the genital tombstone incident down in Mississippi. That's hardly a community building affair. Also, Baphomet was supposed to be cast in bronze. All they've managed to do is get a plaster cast. Really, this group hasn't made good on any of its claims. Greaves keeps stabbing at new things, hoping his pitchfork will eventually hit something. There's no news here. And that's my point about the nature of modern news media. It's no longer about news. It's about making the public say, wow, gee whiz, that's weird. It's about entertainment. I don't want to be too harsh on Charlie and Taryn because they aren't presenting themselves as hard news people. They know they're there to entertain, but they do present Let It Rip as a news program. The truth of the matter is, it's infotainment. This is calculated not to instruct or to inform, but to get us to say, wow, that's weird.
Are you dangerous in any shape, way, or form?
Only dangerous
No.
if you don't believe in critical thinking, freedom, and affirmation of human spirit and will.
Jex Blackmore, Al, Kresta, thank you so much.
But they are dangerous to critical thinking because what they're doing doesn't show any. The same with the news program. The absence of basic research and clear thinking leaves us wondering, what the heck was this all about? Language is what we share as a community of human beings. Atheists, Christians, Quakers, Muslims. We've got a common vocabulary, and that's one of the ways we get along. But when Jex and these folks call themselves Satanists, they pretend they're accepting our common vocabulary, but they're smuggling in their own dictionary. They don't correspond to any definition of Satan, as I said, and they don't have continuity with any satanic group. This isn't critical thinking. This is simply wishing to be different and hoping someone will write your ticket for you. So let's do some critical thinking. Who's not for compassion to all creatures? Who's not for the noble pursuit of justice? Who's not for motherhood and apple pie? Look at their doctrinal statement. It could have been written by any nice secular humanist. I'm Catholic. Jex calls herself a Satanist, and she would clearly dissent from the Nicene Creed. But there's not that much that I would dispute with her on her own doctrinal statement. I'd consent to almost all of it. And that's what makes this so funny. In what sense does it really make sense to call this a satanic organization? This is the problem with the flim-flam nature of invented religions in America. It's about market share, about defining yourself in ways that fit in with the largest potential audience you can get. Part of their intended audience is reached through doing outlandish stunts. They pose as defenders of the eccentric and the dissenters, those who refuse conformity to the system. And they claim to resist being co-opted by the world system. They invoke Satan. Well, it used to be to invoke Satan was to invoke the contrary of mainstream moralism. To call someone a Nazi used to be a form of calling them satanic or devilish, unambiguously out of the moral mainstream. Those claiming to be Satanists or Luciferians were rebels, looking to create chaos, maybe revolution, politics, religion, morality. But once the Satanist is interested in compassion for all creatures, the mainstream pursuit of justice and tolerance, then what are they protesting? Like Jex said, they've published some affirmative beliefs. But when you look at them, what do they consist of? They're not satanic in either the literary or the theological sense. They're not even satanic in the satanic sense, according to the Church of Satan. They believe things like every living creature should be treated with compassion. Justice is noble. Heck, If that's Satanism, count me in. We're all Satanists now. I'm Al Kresta. Thanks for watching.